Flaherty's overall ERA is a little misleading. I say that only because over his last, and I should have this stuff memorized because I'm always checking it. But he, over his last so many starts, and let me just do this because why guess at it when I can have the information. Flaherty, and I know he is a, kind of a polarizing figure. My whole thing is if he pitches really well, I'm happy. And Jack Flaherty can be Jack Flaherty. In fact, Jack Flaherty can be Jack Flaherty all that he wants to be. But I think some of the nastiness would not be there, or it would be a lot less, kind of the personal nastiness that is directed at him. It would not be nearly as harsh if he were pitching really well, consistently well on a consistent basis. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But anyway, here's let me tell you again, I'm not excusing some of his poor performances. That's not my point. This is a progress report. So after giving up 10 runs, remember that game on May 4th against the Angels? He gave up 10 runs in 2 1/3. Since then, he has had 4 starts. The team has won all 4 of those games. And his ERA is 2.66. That's good. The question is, can he keep it up? But anyway, he gets the ball tonight, tomorrow afternoon. It will be Jordan Montgomery for the Cardinals. And he needs to turn things around because he and Flaherty, it's kind of they've done the opposite of each other. Montgomery was really good early, but his ERA last 4 or 5 starts is near 7. A lot of home runs. Flaherty started off slowly, but he's getting better. So they've sort of gone in opposite ways. The Cardinals really need Jordan Montgomery to be good. Really, really good, and he's capable of it. So we'll see how he does. This would be a good place to start. Everyone rested up, so on and so forth. Luis Ortiz will start for the Pirates on Saturday. Sunday, we got an early one. Just a reminder, that's a Peacock streaming game. They have a Central Time. They have a 10:35 a.m. game every Sunday, local time. And it'll be the Cardinals with Albert Pujols in the booth. Albert Pujols as one of the guest commentators on Peacock this Sunday for the Pirates Cardinals. I love that. Again, 10:35. That'll be Miles Miklasz against Rich Hill. Joe, I don't think it's a coincidence or just. I know that Ali Marmol was putting a lot of thought into how they would come out of the gate to resume. I don't think it's an accident that basically they're top 3 starters. I can't include Liberatore there yet because he's had 2 starts. I want to include him, but he's got to pitch more until we know exactly what's there, and I think it's pretty good. But it's no coincidence, no accident that Ali Marmol is coming out of the gate to resume play, and he's got his 3 best starting pitchers lined up against the Pirates.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move. He's letting everyone know that I know we just had 19 days and we got a couple of days off, but we got to get right back at it because we had a horrible start. So we're playing from behind, so we need to get a hot start going. We're going to have our best started, and we're going to try to keep this thing rolling. I think it's a really smart move to do.
And it's the best way to go. I think this is, to get back to what I teased to as we were taking a break from the first segment, this one feels important to me. Important as, well, if either team loses the series, it's, they're cooked, they're done. No, I don't mean it that way. I just think both of these teams come into this because we all know that it's a very highly likelihood of the NL Central being up for grabs virtually to the very end of the regular season. I'm talking about the division winner. And so these teams are going to be jockeying with each other, every team in the Central. I think there's a kind of a heightened importance when teams go head-to-head because no one's going to run away with this. So you got to get your wins when you can. When you have a chance to win a series from an opponent in the NL Central, you got to get it done. And I think the Cardinals really have to get it done because, well, 2 reasons. Number one, they have the best record in the National League at 15-8 since May the 7th, and that's even with the way they kind of flattened out, going 3-4 in their last 7 games. But that wasn't horrible. That happens. But the 15-8 record is good, even though it could have been better, but it's good. In fact, it's, when you got the best record in the National League since May the 7th, I'm not going to sneer at their record during that time because it's the best in their league. But I think a lot of people are in this camp with me. I don't really trust them yet because 23 games is not the be-all, end-all. I appreciate that they have been winning and winning and winning. I do. I appreciate it. And there's a couple tough teams baked in there. But they have to continue to prove themselves. They have to continue to show the consistency and show that they can continue to put together streaks like this and that they can't start to fall down and get trampled and sort of revert back to something similar to what we saw when they opened up 10-24. So the Cardinals need to sustain. They need to generate. I'm sorry. They've generated the momentum that they needed so badly. They have generated that, but they have to keep it going because there's no medals handed out or trophies handed out because you went 15-8 during one stretch. You got to be a really consistent team, and you got to keep winning and winning and winning. And so that's why I think it's really important to come out of the gate after splitting in Cincinnati, after losing the series to Cleveland. And then after coming back and you get trampled in that first game against Kansas City and you split that series, you got to come out and win this one. The second reason why I think it's important is because after this, the Cardinals go immediately, starting Monday, a 3-game series at Texas. The Rangers are trying to chase down the Tampa Bay Rays for the best record in baseball. They're like 3.5 behind. Going into the weekend, the Rangers are 35-20. Their winning percentage is number 2 overall. That's a hell of a team there. Ain't nothing fluky about it. So the Cardinals pivot from Pittsburgh to Arlington, Texas, a series that's going to be really challenging for them. That's why they can't screw up the weekend in Pittsburgh. They just can't. They have to come out of there. Well, they can. It's not the end of the season. But you win 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. And you go into Texas and you avoid getting swept, even if you go 1-2, 2-1 would be better. Then you come out of that 6-game road trip looking pretty good. But if you blow the series in Pittsburgh and then go down to Texas and get stomped and lose that series, then we're all going to be asking, where'd the momentum go? See, so the Cardinals have to reestablish that they're capable of putting a lot of. For a while there, they won series after series after series, and they have to get back to when they're winning series again because they leveled off, as I mentioned earlier. So I think that's really important. But it's also important. It's also important for the Pittsburgh Pirates because on May the 6th, the Pirates were sitting atop the NL Central, and they had a 10-game lead over the Cardinals, who were in last place. Well, the teams have sort of switched identities in a way. The Pirates, going into this weekend, have lost 19 out of 27 games. And even though their record is still 1 game above 500, and they're still clinging to second place, and they're still only a half game out of first, trailing the Brewers, they went through May without winning a series until the last series they played in May. They won 2 out of 3 in San Francisco. So reading and listening to some of the comments of players, including one of my favorite players, Andrew McCutcheon, they feel that going through that brutal May and ending May winning a series, it's going to make them stronger as they go forward. They had to deal with got off to a great start, got a lot of adversity, it hit them, kind of staggered them, but they're looking at it, it's like, you know what, we need that. We actually need that. It's not good for the standings, but I think you got to be tested, you got to be punched in the mouth, and you got to show that you can get back up and get your opponent the next time. So the Pirates kind of have an attitude. They're fired up about this. They should be. because they're looking at this as a chance. The Cardinals, they made a statement when they came in here in mid-April and they won. They actually split a series. So what's the big deal? They each won 2 games. What's the big deal? Well, the Cardinals have just owned the Pirates in recent years, and the Pirates really were jubilant about that series split because they want to send a message, and they still do, to the Cardinals. You've owned us. We're not that team anymore. We're better, and we're going to get even better, and we're not afraid of you. We can compete with you. And the Cardinals go in there. Now they're only 3.5 games behind Pittsburgh. Not talking about first place, but just specifically Pittsburgh. They're 3.5 games behind. So they've cut that deficit pretty dramatic way. But the Pirates view this series, after winning in San Francisco to end a really tough month, they view this series to convince themselves, convince the outsiders, convince whoever, that, no, what happened in May, that's not us. We're really good, and we're going to get back up, and we're going to keep going, and we're going to win. So they view this as like the first test run of this. They're really fired up that the Cardinals are coming in town. They see this as a series in which they can reestablish themselves and prove that they're not going to be dismissed without a fight. So that's why I like this series, because the Cardinals go in there trying to push the Pittsburgh Pirates down and keep them down, so they hope. But they don't want to get that team all jacked up by losing a series to the Pirates. The Pirates, meanwhile, they want to win this series the worst way because they want to weaken the Cardinals and strengthen themselves. So one team has been winning. The other team has really been in a bad slump. The slumping team wants to knock the team that's been winning. They want to knock them out this weekend. They want to knock them down anyway. And that's what's so compelling about this, because I think both of these teams are still kind of searching for who they are exactly. And they've both gone through horrible stretches. And I'm not sure if I take the Pirates as highly or view them as highly as I did before, but we're going to have a chance to find out. And Andrew Miklasz and those guys seem pretty fired up about this, and I think the fact that the opponent is St. Louis adds a little extra to the series. So I hope the Cardinals can at least get 2 out of 3. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you that this being a big series, and the Pirates have cooled off since the beginning of the season. So this is definitely a series the Cardinals should be able to win, and they need this momentum to go in against the Rangers. Like you said, that Rangers is going to be a tough series. So they need all the momentum they can get, because I think still a lot of fans still have a little bit of that stank from April on their mind. So if the Cardinals come out and lay that egg, they're going to automatically go back to April and think, oh, maybe April is what the Cardinals really are about and not the May that they had.
And we're all looking forward to maybe, again, I'm not trying to put too much on Jordan Walker, but, his improvement, the things he had to work on, he definitely made improvement. But there's probably not a lot of offense in that outfield right now. And, well, there isn't. And because of Nootbaar, especially, because he was doing pretty well. Power was not where it should be, but everything else was good. But it's tough that they're going to have to go without him. Although it is retroactive, so maybe he won't be out for 10 days. It may be a lot shorter. But Jordan Walker, I just wanted to mention this. We mentioned the slow start, but this is what he did over the last 15 games as a Memphis Redbird. 72 plate appearances. He had 5 doubles, 3 homers, 13 RBIs. He walked 12% of the time. That's really good. Because he needs to draw walks, and he stopped chasing pitches, because veteran pitchers will continue to carve him up if he's chasing stuff off the plate. So the fact, even though it was in Memphis, not the majors, he walked 12% of the time in his last 15 games is a really positive indicator that his plate discipline appears to be improving. So anyway, .312 batting average, .403 on base percentage, and that's what all those walks did for him. .541 slug and a .944 OPS. I mean, that's the guy that gets people excited. And after he shook off his disappointment and all that, I got to believe he's coming. He's going into Pittsburgh. He's there already, obviously, but I got to believe that he'll have so much energy, so much determination, and he's going to apply the things that he learned and corrected down in Memphis, and we'll see a more complete hitter. That's my hope. I don't expect him to be, dominating the league, but I just want to see this weekend for him. I just want to see the signs that, he's a more complete, more all-around hitter, and he's going to be able to take that massive strength, that high hard hit rate, and all that stuff, huge exit velocity, all that stuff, and as I said earlier, turn all that massive strength and power, take it from the ground and get it into the air. And then we all will see a show. We're going to see a hell of a show if he can do that. I'd like to see him do it right away because I'm spoiled. And I just want to enjoy seeing him, not come of age, but just, although he did turn 21 when he was in Memphis, but just to see him, come back into this thing, swinging and just hitting the ball a long way. That'd be awesome. And I think it would give a boost to the Cardinals because even though they're 15-8 their last 23, they kind of skidded there at the end of that stretch. And you have some other guys slumping, and it's not all up to Jordan Walker because, look, Nolan Gorman's got to get going. Wilson Contreras really needs to get going. Paul DeJong needs to prove. He's got something to prove. And what he has to prove is that this recent rut doesn't mean he has reverted back to being the hopeless Paul DeJong. And there's a lot of people that think that's what his skid has showed. They think that proves that he's not the old frustrating version of Paul DeJong has returned. They really believe that. I'm not giving up on this guy this soon. That said, he's going to have a lot to prove because he's been so awful the previous 2 years. So this would be a good time for him to put up some robust numbers this weekend. But so they have a lot of guys who need to get out of the ruts that they're in. But Jordan Walker, if he hits, it's a huge boost for the club one way or another.